Leicester City 2, Chelsea 0. This is going to be honest and not positive. We looked like, and have looked like for a little while, a team without any ideas. We look like a group of players that haven't played together and a group of players that want to be freed. Players that want to come into their own, but they can't. And I've got to get onto Lampard early. It seems that in our poor run of form, we have gone into our shell as a team and Lampard as a manager. He has reverted to playing experienced players and going over the tried and tested in the hope that it comes good. And it sounds like a broken record, but doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is very strange. And you can listen to Lampard talk after the City game, which I did, and it gave me hope that there was a way forward and that we would work through it. But tonight I don't feel that. I don't feel the way forward. I don't see the direction that we're going in. And this is the first time that I've felt like that. And it hurts so much because I'm a big believer in Lampard, a big believer in this squad. But we know there's talent in this squad. We know that. And we don't know about Lampard at the high end. And tonight is the meeting between the team that are now top of the league and the team that are now 8th. And so even though tonight, on an individual basis, can't condemn Frank to what happens, the fact that the reality is that Leicester are top and we are 8th and there's no way it deserves to be anything other than that, that is such a big concern and such an identifier to where we are. And that is horrible and that is bad, and clubs can't be allowed to go this way. Now, I look at Arsenal and there'll be obvious that this is a comparison, and people say, yeah, but they gave Arteta time and look at them, they're thriving. But I looked at Arsenal's squad and thought it was really poor, and I thought Arteta was being handed a bunch of useless players, and he has reverted to a different tactic. He has taken a big gamble, a big step, and now look at them. Lampard has taken a step back. He has gone from being the man that is expressive and free and coming out of his shell in his tactics, in his ideas, in his mentality towards games, and he is managing the team like a man that is so scared for his life, for his job, that he needs to go back to the tried and tested. And that's not the free-flowing, youthful, exciting, energetic, no fear Chelsea and Lampard that we want and that to an extent we were promised. And that is a worry, because while Lampard was doing what he promised and what we wanted him to do, and it was going wrong, you sit and you say, fair play, okay, it's not quite going right. You know, at the start of the season, we were playing attacking football. We were playing players, our new players, we were playing young players. I start to think, okay, this isn't right. This isn't what we were promised. We didn't think we were going to see any more of Jorginho. We didn't think we were going to see, any more of him at CDM in a lone DM. We didn't think we were going to see Rudiger. We didn't think we were going to see Christensen. And then all of a sudden, they start making returns to the team, not based on form or because it's really forced, but because Lampard has almost given up on what got him to where he was. Like, who got him through last season? It was the youth. And I can't for the life of me see why a manager that is confident enough, and he's not. We're lacking confidence and he is lacking confidence. But we need a manager that's got the ability and the bollocks to say, no, look, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going You almost get more of an excuse if you play youth players. If you play Gilmour tonight and Gilmour had a shocker, you stand there and you go, you know what, that's my bad. I trusted a youth player because that's the direction I want to go in. But Frank Lampard has picked Kovacic, a man who has been useless for the last month and a half, and he's not got a leg to stand on after the game because there's no reason he should have picked Kovacic in the first place. So, what's the direction you're going in, Frank? What's your reasoning behind this? Because unless there's something we're dramatically missing, I don't see it. I don't see it. And to move on to meritocracy, where's it gone? The whole idea of a football team is that the best players should play, not the best names. Football's not played on paper. Because if football was played on paper, you wouldn't play any of the games. But he's not playing what's in front of him. He's playing what's in his head. He's in his own head. And we don't have the ability here at Chelsea Football Club to say, you know what, it's going to be worth it. Because we don't have that. We are trusting the words of Harry Redknapp, of Mel Morris. We are trusting the words of players that say Lampard will do it. But a football club can't stand still for the hope of a manager. It can for the hope of a player because you can drop a player. You can't drop a manager. We can't drop Lampard and say, come back in a few years' time and if you're there, we'll have you back. No, we're going to have to get rid of him. We're going to have to get rid of him. And that's the sake of this. Is that he's worried for his job. And I can't blame him because it went poor and it went sour quickly. But he went away from his values, the values that we saw from him so much last season. And he's gone away from that so quickly. And that's the biggest disappointment. He's not stuck by his guns this year. And whether that's pressure from the board, pressure from the signings, politics, whatever it is, it's not the future of the club. We're trying to move on. We're trying to move on. We're trying to pass the bringing on Zappacosta against Manchester United when you're 2-0 down as a sub. We're trying to bypass that. We're trying to bypass the politics of subbing off John Terry at half-time, Mr. Mourinho, against Manchester City. We don't want that. But right now, Frank Lampard isn't giving us a choice. He's not making his own case. He's digging his own grave. And that is so hard to accept. Because we love Frank Lampard. We want him to succeed more than anything. But it looks like he's out of his depth. Yeah, it looks like he's out of his depth. And whether it's because it's Leicester away in the middle of winter, whether it's because it was a team at the end of a poor run, whether it's because it was the white away kit against a blue kit, whether it's the fact that Jamie Vardy was on the pitch and it was raining and it was a horrible night. This seems like the end of Frank Lampard, just like it felt like the end of Jose Mourinho. And that's crap, isn't it? Nobody wants that. It sounded like Jose Mourinho being defiant last week. When we lost against Manchester City, it sounded like Mourinho being defiant. And that was coming from Lampard. And that's not a good thing. Because it means that you've really given up hope that you can actually get out of it. As much as you say, I'm determined to come through it and work through it. We've been put in a position where there's something to work through. And how long can you back a manager that's not proved he can get through that? And this isn't anything about Lampard or against Lampard, but in any sense, we took a risk and we don't have that experience, and Lampard doesn't have the CV to fall back on to say, no, I can get teams through this. We don't have the experience, and it's too much of a risk to risk the talent of players that we've got right now